Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. Today's video was inspired by a few friends. We were talking about books and Goodreads and reading, and they said, oh, you read quite a lot. And that wasn't the case for quite a long time. I lost reading for years, really, and it took some time to get back into it. The reason I stopped reading was because I thought that anything I read needed to be related to my academic work. I was so wrong about that for a lot of reasons, and I had to actually make time and get back into reading, and really I only got back to reading in 2020. So I thought I would share my tips with you for how I actually did that, in hopes that maybe it might help you get back on track and get into your own reading journey. I don't read a hugely tremendous amount like a lot of people here on YouTube do. I average round about a book a week, give or take, depending on the length of the book and depending on what's happening in life at that time. But that's about how much I've been averaging, and I hope that I'm able to continue. So here are all my tips. The first one is read what you want, not what you think you should be reading or people deem worthy of reading. Think about the books or stories that you personally enjoy or the topics that you mostly enjoy. Maybe sometimes there's this pressure of reading certain types of books, but no one's experiencing this other than you. It is impacting no one else's life except you. So it needs to be things that you personally really enjoy. If you're not sure how to figure this out, how do you even know what are the types of books you might enjoy? Think about what are the types or genres of movies or shows that you tend to really like. Do you like chick flicks and romance? Do you like sci-fi? Do you enjoy mystery and crime shows? Do you like horror films? And think about how that can guide you in choosing the right books that you will find very entertaining and enjoyable. So first start with that. Start with the genres that you would naturally gravitate towards. Your reading taste will evolve over time. It will continue to change, but go over the things that you like reading. The second thing I'd recommend is use Goodreads. This is probably my most visited app and website lately. It's so helpful, and let me tell you why. First, it's so helpful for actually discovering books. You can actually go to the different genres and see what are the highest rated ones, what are new ones that are out, and it can help you actually discover what are some books that you might really like. The other reason it's so helpful is you can check reviews for books. So let's say you're in a bookstore and you find one that you think you might really enjoy. You can go on Goodreads and just check what are the community actually saying about it, how is it rated, does it tend to be well liked, and that can just tell you that this might be a good bet, something that you would enjoy. Then you're not buying books that are, poorly rated, and it can just help you choose the ones that you are most likely to enjoy. I found that this really helps me find books that I really like. I've ended up having very successful reading years, enjoying most of the books that I've been reading. This strategy I found to be really, really helpful. And the other great thing about Goodreads is that it's social. So you can follow your friends and you could see what they're reading, you could see how they rated them, they could see as well what you're reading and how you rated it, and you can get ideas for books that you might enjoy just by seeing what everyone in your community is reading. I'll leave my Goodreads down below. If that interests you, you could see what I've been reading, you could see how I rated it. So if that's helpful for you, and maybe it might help you find books that you might enjoy. My next tip is also Goodreads related, and that you could consider setting a goal. And I realize this isn't for everyone, but for people who like gamifying parts of their life like I do, it can be very motivating and fun and helpful. So you could set a goal, you could tell Goodreads this is how many books you want to read this year, and you can just continue to track and just see that bar move. I find it really helpful. But if it distracts from the fun of reading for you, then skip this one. My next tip is consider audiobooks. Audiobooks can make it really accessible and easy to consume story and information. And what's great about them is they could be very, very entertaining. There are a lot of audiobooks, for example, narrated by celebrities or narrators that are just exceptional, who their voice is very nice to listen to. I have a whole video about audiobooks. I'll link it down below if you've missed that one, if that helps you find a book that you might enjoy. So we cover quite a few different genres and categories. Hopefully there's something in there for you that you might find interesting. And there's a few different ways to get audiobooks. There's a range of different apps. I'll pop them up here. These are all ways that you can get audiobooks, and some of them are completely free if you have a library card, and then others have a membership that's cheaper than Netflix, and you can get unlimited audiobook access. My favorite way to use audiobooks is if I'm doing mundane tasks like chores, cleaning, cooking. It makes it so much more entertaining to just pop in an audiobook and just listen to a story, an immersive experience. It makes the time go by in a lot more enjoyable way. The other thing to think about is actually prioritizing it in your day. Think about the time that would make the most sense for you to read. This is like any habit that we're trying to build. We'd have to actually schedule it in and think about when would make sense to actually practice that habit. So look at your schedule and see, when does it make the most sense for you? Is it first thing in the morning when you wake up before anyone else is up with your coffee? Is it on weekends in the morning? Is it at night before bed? Is it during your lunch break or on your commute? So schedule it in and really prioritize that time if that is something that is important for you. And it doesn't have to be hours and hours. You could start with 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is that makes the most sense for you. Make it really, really achievable, and it just helps you actually get going. What worked for me, for example, is actually making the conscious effort to just put my phone away after dinner, before bed, and prioritize just having access to my e-reader, Kindle, or a book. And that meant that I'm not getting distracted by my phone, because I could spend hours and hours really doing nothing, not relaxing, actually getting anxious being on my phone. And so just making that switch, trading my phone or screen time before bed for a book, really, really worked. So think about for you when that might be in your schedule. Is there a habit that you could switch out that you tend to do that you'd rather spend your time actually reading? My next tip is to think about getting an e-reader or a Kindle. This can make it quite easy to read books because they're so lightweight. You have access to so many instantly. You don't have to go anywhere and get a book. And I really like the backlit feature. It makes it really easy to read in the dark before bed. It's just perfect. The other reason that a Kindle is great is if you're traveling and you're on the go a lot, you don't have space for books in the suitcase. Books are really, really heavy, so a Kindle is perfect. And with that, my next tip would be always have a book with you. So if that's your Kindle, you have that always with you. Whether you're about to catch a bus or you're commuting somewhere, there's always little pockets of time that you could read if you have access to a book with you. My next tip is to know what you're gonna read next. So have on your shelf, or even just on your Goodreads, what's up next for you, because then you're not spending time after finishing a book just wondering, what am I going to read next? Am I even going to read? It helps you keep up that momentum. You're already excited about what you're going to pick up next. My next tip is more a mindset one. Let go of that idea that you are not a reader or you don't like reading. Just because you haven't enjoyed reading in the past doesn't mean that you can't enjoy it now or in the future. If you want to read books, it's just about finding the ones that you will enjoy that are right for you and building up that habit more over time. So just because we had a bad experience in high school with books that we were assigned, and let's face it, most of us struggled with those books, it doesn't mean that we won't find books that we actually really enjoy. It's like saying, I watched this movie one time in school and I really didn't like it, and so I just don't like movies. There's so many genres, there's so many different types of books, there's new ones that come out every single day. So it's just about finding the ones that you like. My next tip is you don't have to have a big budget to read. Realize some books can be expensive. So you can sign up to your library and borrow books for free. You can maybe swap books with friends. You could check out secondhand books also. So there's ways around that where you're not spending too much money just buying books. My last tip is don't worry about not finishing a book if you're not enjoying it. Life's too short. If you're on to page 50, 60, 100, and you're finding that you're still really not enjoying this book, whether it's the story, whether it's the writing style, whatever it is that's not working for you, you've learned about that, you are starting to understand your reading taste more, and just drop it. Check out something else. It's not worth pushing yourself through. That's time that you're not going to get back. And it really is all about reading and enjoying and learning about things that you like. So those were all tips that helped me get back into my reading journey. I hope some of these were helpful for you as well. If you have more tips on how to read more, please let me know. Drop them down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.